One.
Welcome, everyone, to Sports Opinions with Regular Guys, episode number 17. I'm Frank. This is Mike. And in today's episode, we have lots of NFL heavy show due to all of the trades and signings that happened last week. That's a lot to talk about. We didn't get a chance to do a show since last Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah.
And so since then, lots of different moves have happened, going around from Watson trade, and then also going on with Tom Brady unretiring. So we also have a little bit of some Bulls. We just got done watching a blowout. Again, Bulls getting blown out by a top tier team.
That was sad to watch.
And it's same thing. Seems as they can't be top teams. But with all that being said, we'll get into the NFL. Obviously, we'll get into the NBA. We'll get into the Bulls, and of course, Mike's daily Ben Simmons rant. I'm sure he has some stuff to say about that again today. So let's start off everything with the NFL. So. One of the biggest signings last week, not signings, should I say trade and sign, was with the Houston Texans and the Cleveland Browns. As we all know, Deshaun Watson has been trying to get the hell out of Houston for quite some time now, and his legal troubles and everything like that. They finally got a suitor that will take him. But man, was it a major price to get this man, who we have no idea if he's even going to be able to play in the regular season. For those who don't know, Deshaun Watson was traded from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns for 3 first-round draft picks. And also, Watson signed a whopping $230 million, all guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
And so...
that's a lot of money for a guy that has, so much legal trouble. That's been having so much trouble with he missed all of last season because of this. No one wanted to pick him up. They've been trying to, move him around. I think by law, he's got something that went his way in court, but he still has 22 civil lawsuits going against him to be getting $230 million guaranteed.
But even on top of all of that, let's just take his legal troubles out of the equation for just a moment. What has this man done? What has he done? He was in Houston the last several years, and they haven't done anything. What has he really done? You can sign him to $230 million, but hell, why would you guarantee all of it?
Well,
no one has a guaranteed contract in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers looked like it was the closest, him and Patrick Mahomes, and they still didn't get all of theirs. This man gets every dime of it's guaranteed for the next 5 years. And Cleveland is out of first-round picks for the next 3 years, too. So this is a big gamble. They're going to have to win and win now.
Yep. Because,
God forbid anything physically happens to Watson, then they're stuck with this man for 5 years, $230 million, all of it guaranteed, and they have no top picks if they have a crappy season. They have no first-round picks. So they can't even rebuild around this man if something happens.
But they already have a good team. That's how Baker Mayfield already made it to the playoffs. Baker had a separated shoulder that he was nursing the entire season, basically from week 4 and on. The man wore a sling to complete games. So I tip my hat to him, for doing all that and pulling out 8 wins, doing that. Now, that being said, Deshaun Watson, when he got to Houston, he was a monster. He puts up the numbers. He'll get you 300 yards easily. He's got a killer arm. He can run. He's very mobile. Great decision maker. My problem is not going to be him on the field. My problem is, will he make it on the field if, let's say, the NFL decides to punish him for these 22 civil lawsuits that he has going against him? We don't know what's going to happen yet. But what I did hear is something interesting. His deal got made for his first year. His salary will be worth $1 million. That way, if he has any legal fees or anything like that, he
Yeah, I
can
did
only
hear about
disperse only a certain amount of money because of how much money his salary is, which is genius one way, but it's kind of shiesty for the football, for the Browns to do that, because what does that say towards all these 22 ladies that are that have this civil lawsuit? They're basically planning out, hey, they're not going to get all this money because this is what your salary is going to be based this year. But I expect better things out of Cleveland. They made it that far because their defense was great. You got Nick Chubb, which was almost unstoppable as a running back. He had great wide receivers. I mean, he lost OBJ. OBJ went on to have better things, like a Super Bowl. He already has a decent squad. He has a team built for him. So I think he's going to be successful there because the team's already in place. They just needed that other piece that could deliver the ball on time and also be a little bit, I don't want to say professional because this guy has 22 civil lawsuits pending against him, but they just need a better decision maker out there.
Well, I think it's definitely an upgrade for Cleveland. But as you know, the NFL is not for long. So
True.
They're going to have to, their window is probably a couple of years, they're going to have to get it done because they can't afford to have a crappy season because they have no first round picks to do anything to make improvements.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is this: why didn't Cleveland, when they made this trade, why didn't they just trade Baker Mayfield to Texans? I don't understand why you just trade him there and you can get rid of him that way. Because Houston has no they have no quarterback now. Now they're in rebuilding mode. So officially in rebuilding mode. Just like the
They
Rockets.
get someone? I thought they got
3 first round picks and I believe a 4th round pick, I think.
Where did Marcus Mariota go?
Marcus Mariota, I'm not sure.
Yeah, they just signed him.
That's what they got?
I think that's where they just sent him.
Oh God. They're rebuilding. Let's just be honest. And the Bears actually played them.
I'm sorry. Mariota went to the Falcons.
Oh, because of the Mike.
Yeah, they traded
so there's so
Brian.
many.
Yeah.
See, people. There's so many
Yeah.
moves going on.
Yeah.
There's so many moves that happen. With free agency started and trades going on, and the NFL year just started over again. Is a lot of different moves. It's hard to keep up with some of this stuff. So, Houston, they're getting a first round pick, so obviously they're going to be rebuilding, and that's going to be good for them, I guess, because now they can rebuild for their future. With all these picks they're getting, if they got the right management, they should be competitive in the next couple of years. Now, Cleveland, they have to, it's a win now situation for them. They cannot have a bad season. They cannot have a bad year.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Well, they better make the playoffs.
If Deshaun Watson is in fact going to start and he's going to be playing, and with the team he has at his disposal, I think they're going to make the playoffs.
So
and they're dangerous.
So with that being said, it's kind of funny. So before this trade happened, Baker Mayfield was saying, I want to be traded. Trade me. I don't want to play for you no more. And Cleveland, no, we're not going to trade you. Now they got Watson. Now he says, trade me. Now they don't have a problem with it.
The man got upset because and I'm going to defend him. And I know you don't like him too much, but I like him. I like Baker Mayfield. He has heart. He has desire to win, and I always like players that will do what they need to do to win. The man had his shoulders separated, put a sling on his shoulder, and decided to play, and still won games. Okay, he wasn't throwing 350 passing yards. He wasn't throwing for 3-4 touchdowns, but he managed the game enough, made the right decisions, even had comeback games where he won games. Okay, Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback. He's just not media friendly. Like, the media talks to him, he talks any which way back to them, and they paint a bad picture on him, in my opinion. I think he's gonna be solid wherever he goes. I think if he can go to Houston, you can go to Houston. Man, you can go to the Jets. The Jets suck. They need a quarterback real bad. I mean, I know the Panthers, who the Panthers have right now, but regardless of which, he should have a home in the NFL as a starter for what he has done. I don't know why there's so much hate on the man. I think he's decent. better quarterback than I feel like we have here.
Well, I think that you're right. I don't really care for Baker Mayfield, but I do think like why didn't you guys trade me already? You know I didn't want to be here. You wanted to be traded before they got Watson, and they didn't want to trade him. Now, well, we'll trade him. You should have traded him to Houston. So I mean, I understand. I'm sure he's pretty pissy at Cleveland for what they did here.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'd be
get rid of him. I probably would be too. But you know, I don't know. I just don't think he's that good. But
okay,
we'll see where he goes. I mean, someone will pick him up. I mean, he is that talented that someone should pick him up. But I was, reading last week that he may not even start. He might be traded, not even be a starter anymore.
Frank.
I don't know if that will happen, but we'll see.
Frank, let's break down what this man has done for this football team. This was a bottom feeder. The Cleveland Browns were a joke for how many years? They signed this kid after they signed what's that other kid that was disguising himself and going to Las Vegas trying to play card games. He was supposed to be like the next big thing too. I'll come back to that. I'll remember his name shortly. But he was the quarterback before Baker Mayfield. Came to Cleveland, turned things around. They made the playoffs. They hadn't seen the playoffs in forever. He made the playoffs. And last year he came back again, trying to make the playoffs with this well put together team. Separates his shoulder, tries his best. Real quick, 3,100 passing yards on a separated shoulder. 17 passing touchdowns on a separated shoulder.
He didn't get all that on a separated shoulder, though. Come on now.
Okay.
When he hurt his shoulder the last couple of weeks of the season,
do all that.
Come on now.
And we're saying he doesn't deserve to be a starter, while we have a starter here that couldn't even complete 1,800 passing yards or even deliver seven touchdowns.
A rookie?
I mean, but we can. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But the man puts up numbers. He has heart. He deserves a home, and he deserves some loyalty for what he's done.
Well, we'll see where it goes. I mean, obviously he'll go somewhere. Someone will get him. Where we don't know. It could be Denver. It could be, I don't know, New Orleans. All these teams need quarterbacks. So
they signed Winston again.
But well, we'll see what happens. That Deshaun Watson trade is big news for Cleveland. So they're going to move on with him.
Yep.
Now, I didn't mean to downplay the other biggest news of last week was your boy Tom Brady decided to unretire himself. And, I mean, really, when are you...
what?
Why did you retire to begin with? You know who's probably really mad at this? Giselle. She should be. He's like, why don't you keep your butt at home and take care of your kids, Tom?
Those kids are grown already.
Well, maybe she wants another couple of kids. Who knows? Make her happy, Tom. You've played 20 years in the league. What are you still playing for? That's what gets me.
To deliver more greatness to us.
Okay, you're one hit away from who knows what, to be retired. So why do you need to play anymore? Retire and stay retired. You don't got nothing else to prove. You're not winning another championship. So, how do
we know that?
Let's just be real about it. You couldn't even get out the NFC last season. So, what, you think the Rams are going to fall down? They're not going anywhere. So Tampa Bay is not even the top team in the NFC anymore. With you. You're 40, going to be 45 going into next season? Really, do you want to come back? Why? I don't get some of these players. You have no reason to be in the NFL anymore. You could be a commentator for the NFL or a coach.
That's called love of the
game. Or try to own a team or get ownership in a team. One thing you should not be doing is playing. You want to think about your health. You're still relatively a young man. You can still do whatever you want to do. You don't need to play football. I disagree with him coming back. I think it's a mistake. That team is not going anywhere.
I see.
What's your opinion on it? Because I said enough of it.
I love the fact that Tom Brady came back. That is my greatest quarterback of all time. He probably is yours too, but you just don't want to admit it.
Whose?
Yours.
No way. I don't like Tom Brady.
Super Bowls
I don't care.
Watched with you.
I don't care.
I've watched
and I wanted him to lose every one of them.
And you've watched greatness.
The only time
you've watched so much greatness.
The only time I wanted to see him win was his first Super Bowl when they played the Rams. Because I'm always for the underdog, and his team was the underdog, and Patriots had never won the championship at that point. And that's when you had him going against Kurt Warner and the unstoppable Rams.
The greatest show on turf.
Yeah,
I remember that.
You know, with Marshall Faulk and Holt and all those greats. You know, and they were coming off a Super Bowl win themselves. And Tom Brady came in there, which honestly he shouldn't have made it up because the referees cheated to get him to the Super Bowl against that game in Oakland. The tuck rule, tuck play. But anyway, even though he got there, I was hoping that they win, and that was the only time that I wanted to see them win. After that, it's like, God, lose the rest of the way. And then, God, you get tired of seeing this. So, you know, when he retired, I'm like, God, breath of fresh air.
That is greatness.
Now you polluted the air again with Tom Brady. Oh, my goodness. So, we'll see what happens. The only thing I can say is hopefully you don't get hurt.
We're going to see another 4,000.
45 years old.
With another 4,000 passing yard season. With another 25 plus touchdowns. I guarantee he's going to have 25 plus touchdown passes. You know, he is ridiculous. He's ridiculous. And he's a freak of nature being that old and still performing the way he's performing. I understand why he gets so much hate.
Should they test him for steroids or HGH or something?
No, he's not that buff. Right?
He's only one hit away. One hit away.
Tom Brady, I love you, and I'm happy you came back. That's
Tom
all I
Brady,
say about
I
that.
don't like you, and I wish you'd stay retired. But hey, hopefully you don't get hurt. Anyway.
But I did check on our New Orleans Saints, and they signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year, $28 million contract, $21 million guaranteed. Man, I'm seeing lots of money guaranteed nowadays.
Well, after what happened with Watson, now, you know, that's got to set a precedent where all these players now want their whole contract guaranteed. We'll see what happens. But that Watson, Winston, okay, that's fine. That's.
But he's coming off of a torn ACL.
Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Oh, he's got to come out and play, but Tariq Cohen can't. So that was 2 years ago. Anyway, there were other bigger news stories than that. As we do know, we know that Russell Wilson had went to Denver. I believe that happened before. But one of the other biggest ones is the Matt Ryan trade to the Colts, and they didn't really give up much for him. They only gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. The Colts give up.
Time for new scenery. We've seen this show how many times, and I think this man's confidence just basically got destroyed when the great Tom Brady played him in that Super Bowl and came back and basically put from like 30
points I watched that game and I was like cheering for Matt Ryan. They had a big lead that Super Bowl.
I remember. And I told you that
they sat there and sat on that ball and just turned the ball over just recklessly and
it was beautiful.
Just let this guy come back. It was 31-3 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
It was beautiful.
And I think since then, you know, when that happened, you knew Atlanta was never going to smell the playoffs again either.
The next year he sucked. The year after that, he basically sucked some more. I mean,
is it his
winning
fault?
6-7 games a season. What do you mean is it his fault? He had great wide receivers. You had Julio Jones.
Julio Jones got old.
Really? You know, they surrounded him with good receivers. They surrounded him with a good line. He's just not in anymore.
He's been around for a long time. He's a veteran for sure because you know who he replaced in Atlanta? He replaced Michael Vick all those years ago.
I remember
when Michael Vick got cut from Atlanta for the dogfighting thing. And so that was like 15 years ago. So he's been in the league for about 15, 16 years at this point. So he's a veteran. He's an aging, grizzly veteran at this point. But it will definitely help the Colts out because they've been in a merry-go-round with quarterbacks since Andrew Luck retired a couple of years ago. They can't get this. They can't get that straight.
What is this, the 8th starting quarterback in 8 years?
So I want them to get off the Bears case then because they always talk about the Bears changing quarterback every year.
Yeah,
now you got this team here changing quarterbacks 3 times a season.
Yes.
So, but I think the Colts will do good. I think the change of scenery will do good for him. I think, believe it or not, I think he might have himself a decent year this season.
Are you seeing a Matthew Stafford type improvement?
You never know. I'll definitely say I'll probably see him putting up about 3,500 yards, maybe 20 touchdowns.
With the right protection, it is possible.
Yeah, and the Colts have a good defense, so I think he's going to have a better year than the last couple of years he's had in Atlanta. That's for sure. And Atlanta, where are they going?
Probably nowhere.
Well, they're probably looking for the future too. They're going to try to rebuild. So a lot of these teams are rebuilding.
I want to circle around to something though.
What's that?
I got to talk about the traitor, Devante Adams.
Traitor.
I mean,
he didn't want to play in Green Bay no more. He wanted to play with his college buddy.
You were paired up with the best quarterback in the league right now, MVP quarterback, that's tossing you these magical balls. I mean, the balls that are flying just barely over people's fingertips just so it can fall in your hands. Who's going to deliver that ball to you like that?
His old college teammate, Derek Carr.
He doesn't have skills like that.
Of course he does. Look at his numbers he put up last year.
Like Aaron Rodgers. Please, he's not even in the conversation with Aaron Rodgers. They're not even on the same boat.
Devante Adams had made it clear he was not, no matter what, he was not going back to the Packers.
That's ridiculous.
He did not want to play. He wanted to play with his boy.
That's ridiculous.
He wanted to play with his kids. He wanted to play with them. He wanted to play with Derek Carr.
This is what I have for you. Okay? Devante Adams, is he going to be putting up the same numbers that he was putting up in Green Bay with?
I think he will.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Really?
He might put up better numbers.
Oh my goodness! I don't think you under. Do you watch these Packers games? Do you see
see where he's playing? He's playing in Las Vegas under a dome and in climate control. He's not playing in cold Green Bay.
What did they do last year?
Who did they have last year?
What did the Raiders do?
Look at Derek Carr's numbers.
They had Derek Carr.
Look at the turmoil they had to go through. Remember what they had to go through last year? They still made the playoffs.
Excuses.
After everything they had to go through with the John Gruden situation,
knockout?
They still made the playoffs.
First round knockout.
They still made the playoffs.
Wowzers.
Now, hey, I think that he's going to have a good year. So you're hating because anyone who leaves Aaron Rodgers, leaves Tom Brady, is a traitor. They don't need to play. Maybe these players want to play for them. They want to build for their own future instead of sticking with the same.
I'm just saying. If I look at it like this, he's just gonna be another number.
I don't know about that.
Another name that Aaron Rodgers used to throw a ball to.
We'll see.
And he made you a
That's
household name.
That's a bold move.
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
Aaron Rodgers made you a household name by tossing the ball to you.
Okay? He's not no Jordy Nelson.
That's another guy that basically disappeared after he left.
But come on,
Jennings. What happened to him? Jennings was a household name, and then once he left, well, what happened to Jennings? Oh, he didn't have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to him anymore. There's a lot of other of these other guys. Donald Driver,
Donald Driver was an old player when he, by the time that Aaron Rodgers got him because he was playing under Brett Favre, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. By
the time he was playing with Aaron Rodgers, Donald Driver was pretty much done at that point.
But he was still a player and he was still receiving.
Yeah, but he retired. He retired.
It's like no more names after you leave. This guy throwing the ball, so I'm gonna be watching them very closely also. Believe me, I will be watching him.
Well,
we'll see, and I will be commenting my opinion on that weekly. That's gonna be, he's gonna be my next Ben Simmons that I'll be watching.
Well, I mean, there's still plenty of moves that still need to be made. Like, for example, is Jimmy G gonna still be playing for San Francisco? We don't know what's gonna happen there.
That's a good question.
Is he gonna be traded somewhere? And it's free agency. So now, one thing we didn't really get on was the Bears. Now they've been making some signings here, nothing big name signings, but they're trying to get some wide receivers put in there. I wish they'd go for the bigger names, but I am definitely with the moves that they've made as far as getting rid of some of this dead weight that was sitting on the bench staying hurt. I don't care who you replace them with at this point. I don't want dead weight players sitting around doing nothing and can't play. At least get somebody out there and play. But one of the interesting...
That's a good pickup right there.
The Bears signed wide receiver
Byron Pringle. he was performing real well for Kansas City last year. He caught
67 passes for almost 900 yards.
And he caught a lot of touchdowns in the playoffs.
All I want to know is, can he catch the ball? What have we been seeing the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years with the Bears receivers? Butterfingers.
Drop. But who are we talking about here? I mean, who's trying to catch the ball? That we had the
freaking ball. That's your job.
Who was our top wide receiver last year?
That's your Mooney, I believe. Was it Mooney?
Mooney. Okay.
Because Robinson was playing the hurt game and couldn't play.
Well, I'm happy he's gone.
Jimmy Graham was butterfingers and hurt. I mean, Tariq Cohen didn't even step on the field.
2 years gone.
So these deadweight players, injured players, the Khalil Mack trade, Hakeem Hicks not there, Marcus Robinson.
Yeah.
These guys had to go. And, the Bears are in a bit of a rebuilding mode, but it's just a matter of getting the offense together again for Justin Fields. Start getting some receivers here. You never know. If you got some freaking receivers that can catch the ball, we'll be fine. You have to build this offensive line. No one expects the Bears to make it to the freaking Super Bowl next year. I mean, they probably won't even make the playoffs next year. But the point is just getting better than they did last year. Instead of going from winning 6 games, win 8 games. Maybe win 9 or 10 games if that's even possible. Just compete. And, we know that they're building for the future. Green Bay's future is already there, and they're on the downside of their future. We all know this. So it's just in a matter of time that the Bears will overtake that team. They can overtake the division. What does Minnesota got? That got Kirk Cousins. How long are they going to last with him? So these teams are in the downside.
And what has he really been doing out there?
Well, he puts up his numbers, but he's not really
No.
He's not. If you're expecting Kirk Cousins to get you in the playoffs and be successful in the playoffs, Viking fans, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no good luck to you. I hope he does run your franchise to the ground, because I can't stand your team either. You're just as bad as the Packers to me. But I don't want them to win either. And I hope that, Kirk Cousins stays there. Let him stay there until he's 45, like Tom Brady.
I think Kirk Cousins will be gone sooner than you think. Because, I mean, they're paying him boku money. This man's getting over $20 million a year. And for what?
Well, I mean, it's good that some of these players are getting this money, because, the NFL, they don't get paid a lot compared to basketball and baseball.
$20 million a year is not a lot?
That's equivalent to...
For 18 months of football.
Equivalent to the NFL, to the NBA, that's more like 30 to 40 million a year. Or baseball, 50 million a year. Because baseball is just unbelievable, outrageous
ridiculous money. I'm waiting for the $1 billion contract.
But I guarantee within the next 10 years, you'll probably see a $1 billion contract.
Yep.
Maybe it might be the New York Yankees that might sign a contract for like 15 years or something.
Or the Dodgers or something.
But we'll see what happens. But as far as the Bears go, they're still making moves. So I just think they should start, going after a tight end. I think they need another tight end. And
Cole Kmet.
Well, see, we don't know we don't know yet. The jury's still out on that man. It wouldn't be bad to get some kind of backup or someone to play along with him to push him.
See if we got another diamond in the rough or something.
Yeah, and we definitely we got to stack up on the wide receivers and the offensive line. You've got to give Justin Fields time to throw. I don't mind him scrambling, but only scramble when the pocket collapses or you see a running play there. You do it, not to run for your life, because the offensive line can't hold the freaking line for 2 seconds. As soon as they snap the ball, he's getting sacked. And then for goodness sake, receivers that can catch the ball. How many drop passes has this team done the last couple of years?
I give you that.
Ridiculous.
I give you that, but I'm also not going to pull any punches just because we had a rookie quarterback. This is your job. You are a professional. You've been playing this game your entire life. It's ridiculous to me that I keep hearing this. Oh, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. Okay, this man can't make the decision to save his life. We had other quarterbacks coming out and had much more success in the pocket and with the line not breaking down for them to throw the ball and win some games. Because once again, you know, our other quarterbacks that played won more games than when this man started and played. And they didn't have that kind of trouble. Yes, I know. You're gonna tell us that you know he threw the Dalton threw interceptions. He did. That was that one game I watched with you. He threw like 2-3 interceptions in like a quarter. So yeah, I remember that game. But at the same time, the man was passing for 300 something yards successfully, throwing touchdown passes successfully. You know, where was that at? When Justin Fields was on the field? He needs to sit back and watch a professional play and watch and develop. Throwing him out there right now, I don't see anything more than him running for his life again next season because he won't be making the decisions and possibly getting hurt and letting somebody else step in and win some games for us. So we'll see.
Nick Foles, I'm sorry.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton is a backup at this point of his career. You know, he's not a starter anymore. It's just the way it is. Now, the Bears are going to have to make a decision, though, on what they want to do. They're going to have to get rid of Foles or Dalton, or both.
I think
they're paying way too much money in the quarterback position. Two veteran quarterbacks who are not going to be starting. Because we already know what the future is with Justin Fields. You can't go away from that.
Yeah.
Okay? So they're going to have to make a decision on that because Dalton and Foles are getting paid a lot of money. And you don't need them both there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cut both of them and just get another quarterback off the market. Now, did Mitch Trubisky end up signing? He did sign up. He ended up signing with the Steelers, actually.
He did. 2-year contract.
Now, is he set to be their starter?
Yes. Who else? They didn't have any.
Now, this is going to be interesting because we're going to see if it was Matt Nagy and the Bears that really, you know, was their system that caused him not to really have, which he didn't have a terrible seasons with the Bears. They just were not spectacular of what we wanted.
Right.
He didn't have that bad. The only problem I had I had several problems with Trubisky. One of the major things with Trubisky is he turned the ball over at least once a game. And hey, come on, can we have a set of games? You go like 5 or 6 games in a row with no interceptions, no fumbles, no turnovers.
Well, I saw a lot of that last year out of our quarterback.
Well, I mean, with the rookie, what do you expect? He's going to have mistakes.
It goes that excuse again.
He's going to have mistakes. That's what's happened.
12 fumbles for this man last year. And you know what an interesting number? Because I've been looking at their numbers. So Justin Fields threw for 1,870 yards. Andy Dalton threw for 1,515 yards per game. Justin Fields 155 yards per game. Andy Dalton 189 yards per game. Dalton threw more touchdowns than Justin Fields and less interceptions. And less games. That's pretty staggering.
Well,
and
Fields got injured too, so he missed a couple of
Here's
games.
another interesting number.
And he didn't even start the season.
Imagine if Darnell Mooney would have caught all those balls. Because did you know that he broke 1,000 yards receiving last year? I didn't know that. I did not know that. He actually broke 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
But only for 4 touchdowns. You know, Cole Kmet was second on the team with 612 receiving yards.
But no touchdowns.
That's another issue. Correct.
What I also hope they end up doing too is maybe they can start using Montgomery as a receiving running back too. Sometimes, you know, that's what they were using Cohen for sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know, he couldn't stay healthy. So we'll see what this new addition, Scott Pringle, does for the Bears. Now, why is Jimmy Graham still on the roster? Aren't they going to get rid of this guy?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think now that's someone they could just completely get rid of.
Yeah, he only caught for 167 yards last year and three touchdowns.
And all that was in the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
I think. Like the first couple of games of the season. And that was it.
You're right.
Yeah,
we could probably make a little room.
Get rid of some of his dead. This is the thing. Here's what I get. No, I don't want any players to get hurt like this. But I mean, my goodness, if you're not going to play, you can't stay. We cannot have injured players who are not playing sit on the sidelines. And that just irks me so much. You see these players are getting, you know, all the time sit on the sidelines. I gotta play this. Hicks, how many games did he sit? Khalil Mack, how many games did you sit?
He didn't play after a week.
Robinson, how many games did you sit?
Almost all season.
You know, Cohen, you missed the whole season.
2 seasons.
2 seasons, basically, yeah. I mean, give me a break. I mean, and you expect to get paid? Goodbye.
Yeah. If you ain't producing, you gotta roll. You gotta roll. Sorry.
And that's what I like about this team. They're not playing games with you no more. Like, if you're not playing, you're not staying.
Yep.
And that's it.
And I think that's gonna change a lot of minds on that team with the whole mindset. I mean, I get it. You guys do play a very physical game. I wouldn't play it because I don't want to get my fingers or hand broken or my leg broken because I've seen some gruesome injuries in the NFL. But at the end of the day, this is what you do. If you have a sprain or something like that, man, I watched football from the late 90s, 2000s. You'd see some guys get smacked. And they get up, tough it out, okay, take a play off, and then come back in and play. Nowadays it's like, smack. I'm done. Take me to the back. I need a CAT scan. I need all this done right now. I'm done.
They take them in the tent now. They have a little tent that they put.
But even then, it's like most of the time these guys have no heart anymore. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get paid anyway. So
because of how soft the league got, the NFL got very soft now. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
So it hit back then, it hit like it is now. You'll still see some people getting smacked up. It is still a very violent sport, but it's not as violent as it was a couple of
definitely, because they protect a lot. Horse collar, the chop block.
More of the protection for the quarterback.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are because now basically you do this to somebody,
flag,
and it's too late. That's a flag. They'll go.
You can sit there and do this, and the quarterback, there's the referee.
Flag. That's 15 yards for you.
So that's it is what it is. But we'll see what the Bears do moving forward. Anything else you want to talk about with the Bears?
Honestly, no, because I wanted to talk about our rushing, because I noticed earlier when I was looking over some numbers before we talked about this, we didn't even have anyone that broke 1,000 yards.
Well, Montgomery would have broke 1,000 yards, but I mean, with that pitiful offensive line that he had to run with, he's glad he got 850.
That's ridiculous.
If they had a better offensive line, he probably could have put up 1,200 yards and probably 10 touchdowns.
I agree.
Because the year before he had 1,000 yards.
So that's what we need to work on again.
The offensive line
is get that dominant run game going again. I mean, he was averaging 3.8 yards per rush. That's pretty good. 4 yards per rush.
You saw how he was
damn good.
Remember, he missed a couple of games too. He didn't play the whole season. Also, he missed some games.
Yeah.
So had he played all the games, he would have look. Well, how many games did he play last year?
Who's Montgomery?
Montgomery. I think he missed. He was up there. His stats right there. How many games did he play?
No, it just says yards per game. I don't have unfortunately, I don't have the games he played. But I looked that up.
Well, he had. He didn't play the whole season. He missed a couple of games. When he came back, though, he was putting it on.
Yeah, I remember that.
So had he played all the games, he easily would have got over 1,000. Just the games he did play, put up 850 yards. Yeah. He's only 150 from getting 1,000. He would have had 1,000-yard receiver and 1,000-yard rusher.
That's what we need.
That's what we need. You're right. We need a 1,400-yard receiver, and we need a 1,400-yard or 1,500-yard rusher.
And a secondary 1,000-yard receiver.
And a 1,000-yard tight end receiver.
Yes.
That's what the Bears need.
Yes.
With that being said, you need Justin Fields to throw for about 4,000 yards. You can throw for about 4,000 yards, get about 35 touchdowns, and that's what the Bears haven't seen forever. I don't know if it's in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely see what happens moving forward. Again, when Bears news breaks, we'll break it to you too on our next show. Even though it's off season, it really isn't off season right now because the free agency market is going on, and then the draft is next month. So there'll be some Bears talk. It'll slow down a little bit, but then it'll pick it back up. With that being said, anything else you want to talk about the?
Nah, NFL wise.
Okay, so
we're good. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA.
All right. So right now we just obviously got done watching the Bulls get completely destroyed against the Bucks. They lost that game in the first quarter. I didn't get too much into it, but they got blown up by 28 to 30 points tonight. So the Bulls, I think, are 1-4 in the last 5 games. And so, but the good news is there's some relief coming up. They do have a little bit of a lighter schedule coming up. They play the Pelicans, they play the Knicks, they play Cleveland, they play a couple
all the teams that were able to beat.
Yeah, a couple of they play a couple of bottom feeders coming up, so they should be able to let's go to schedule, and they should be able to win some of these games. I mean, the crappy Knicks, they should be able to beat them, but they got. So they got the Pelicans on Thursday. They got the Cavaliers on Saturday. They got the Knicks next Monday. They got the Wizards on Tuesday, back to back, and then on Thursday they are playing the Clippers here. And is that the Heat comes after that? Are they playing the Heat here?
That's gonna be tough. Those two games are gonna be real tough.
Well, if Jimmy Butler doesn't play, then the Bulls have a chance to win that game.
More than likely, he'll be nursing an ankle injury or something at that time.
Now, the good news for the Bulls is they got Williams back. I did not expect that was a big move. I did not expect to happen because I swear I had this guy missing the whole year.
And look what
they were saying he was going to miss the whole year, and he came back and played. Same thing with Caruso. They got Caruso back. Ball, we don't know. He said he's had a setback, and we don't know. It's going slow. His recovery's going slow. It's been 2 months.
I don't like that.
Slow.
I don't like that at all. That means he's not going to be back.
He might not be back this season.
Possibly until the playoffs. I don't think
he may not be back. He may not be back for that. I think he might be gone for the rest of the year.
That's crazy.
So you might not see him until next season.
That's crazy.
And what bothers me about it is you could have said from the start with this injury that this is a season-ending injury, and the likelihood of him coming back this season are slim to none. And that's all I think. If you say that, then we don't have to expect him back. We'll be a surprise if you say his recovery is coming back very quickly and we could possibly see him back before the season. But, instead of saying 6 to 8 weeks, it's been 6 to 8 weeks and it's running very slow. What you should have said is his recovery, this is the slow recovery process, and more than likely he's probably going to miss the rest of the season. But we do, hope we keep our hopes up that he might make it for the regular season. But I look at it as I don't know if he's coming back for the rest of the season. We might not see him.
I hope he is. I hope
so too. Because they need his 3-point shooting and they need his defense.
Yes.
They barely lack it, and tonight proved it.
Yes. I think tonight, other than
now, of course, you're right. They had calls. Quarter. They had no calls, but they blew it in the first quarter when they I think Milwaukee went on a 17-0 run or something like that.
Look. The free throw discrepancy is getting ridiculous. I know I'm a homer. I love my Bulls, and of course, there's gonna be some bias. But let's be real here. I'm tired of seeing our all-star DeRozan going up for a shot, getting smacked on the arm, getting smacked on the hip, getting pushed, landing on someone's foot. No call. No calls. Zach LaVine going for a layup, going for a dunk. Just dribbling in general, trying to cut. He's getting smacked, getting hit, going up. He's getting bumped in the air, getting smacked. No call. But let it be them playing a superstar like Giannis. Giannis gets all his calls. He's dribbling. He turns his back to you. You put your hand on his back and just happen to swing at the ball. That's a foul. And he's shooting free throws. The discrepancy showed it all today. They had, at one point, the Bucks had like 12 or 13 free throws. We had zero attempts. That's ridiculous. Of course that's going to make a big difference.
They ended up getting like 4 or 5 for the whole game, I think.
That's ridiculous. And that's something that everyone should be looking at, because it's not happening here and there. It's happening just about every night. Unless we're playing a scrub team, then we get some calls. But let us get some calls. Can we go to the free throw line? Can we compete with these teams and get some calls like they do? Because this is ridiculous. That needs to change.
They're missing some toughness. They need some toughness on this team.
Well, tonight our shooting was bad.
Oh God, it was awful.
Because DeRozan was missing his simple jumpers.
Do you think what they should have done, what Coach Donovan should have done, was sit out the star players for yesterday, as they call it? What was it called? Load management?
Yes.
Sit them out yesterday's game and put them all again ready for today's game.
Or at least one of them. Sit LaVine or sit DeRozan out yesterday. Because a back-to-back game,
Yeah.
obviously, they look tired. They look tired tonight.
They did.
Flat.
Back to back. They should have just sent them out yesterday and played them today. This is a more important game. Well, every game is important, but you want to beat Milwaukee. Now they play them one more time here next week, so we'll see what happens. So we'll find out what happens. But they, again, now Vooch did play good, decent, but it wasn't enough. On the blowout, it's basically useless. So
we can't blame that on him.
Now they're only a game behind Cleveland for 6th place and 2 games behind Toronto for 7th.
Well, we'll be seeing Cleveland, so that's going to make a big difference when we see them. But before we get anywhere else, can we please talk about the man himself, LeBron James. I am wearing my vintage LeBron James jersey that I've had since 2004.
It looks like it too.
And on purpose. I've had this thing forever. I wear it. I used to wear it playing ball. I wear it watching games. It's my little lucky jersey. And this man here, he's crazy, man. This man dropped 38 points in a triple-double, when he played his old team, the Cavs. This man had a dunk on his former teammate, Kevin Love. Basically, LeBron James jumped up and his eyes were above the rim. At 37 years old, this man is still skying and doing this. It's ridiculous. He's leading his team in all statistical categories: points, rebounds, steals. I mean, a man at this age doing this is unbelievable. I get it. We're in Chicago. No one's ever going to be better than Jordan, but this is astronomical. Plus, the man just passed Karl Malone, for the scoring for second all time, and he's not that far off, from taking the number one scoring title. I think it's like 2,000 points away. He can do that in 2 years, probably less. And I can't wait to see when he does that because he deserves it. Hats off to him again. The Lakers are struggling, but I think he's trying to make a push that they make it to this play-in game. And much love and good luck to you, King James.
And all of that you mentioned, and his team is 10 games under 500. And they're 9th in the West with just a game behind the 10th spot. So
you must have not heard everything I just said. This
congratulations
man is leading his team in all those
and
categories.
His team is still 31 and 41.
Does that not tell you what does that tell you about the team? It has to tell you the team is weak.
So
you're telling me this man has to be the best rebounder on your team. He has to be the best scorer. He has to be
someone
the
has
best
to do
defender.
it. Somebody has to do it
at once.
Somebody has to do it.
If we look at any other team, there's a specialist that does everything. Our team has someone that rebounds more than everybody else, someone that gets the steals. That's why the Bulls mesh so well. They don't have one guy.
I mean, look at this.
Everything.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
This is a superstar loaded team with a bunch of veteran superstars. It's supposed to be they're supposed to be number one right now with the best record in the league.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about them being number one. You have the Phoenix Suns that won.
No. Let's go back to October. Let's go back to September. When training camp started and they were making their predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had the Lakers with all these stars that they signed having the best record in the league. Will be number one. We'll make the playoffs. We'll be in the finals and play Brooklyn in the finals. So that's what they had. Brooklyn and
when you looked at that lineup with the big three that they had,
not for me, because I said when you put a bunch of old veterans on the team, what's going to happen is injuries, missed games, and mediocre season.
You didn't tell me that you felt Brooklyn was going to be a strong team out of the East.
I thought Brooklyn was going to be a strong team out of the East because I had them coming out of the East until Kyrie decided he didn't want to get vaccinated. When that happened, I'm like, they're not going anywhere, and they're not.
And then you saw who went somewhere. It was James Harden.
I thought I saw something on there. Did Jamal Crawford officially announce his retirement?
Yes, unfortunately.
When was the last time he played?
Last year. I'm pretty sure he played last year.
Isn't he like 45?
Yes. Well, I don't know about being 45, but he's That's him right here.
Well, we'll see. Well, that's some of the big news. Now,
42nd. 42 years
42.
old.
Now, that's good for him. He played a long time.
Yep.
You know, he pretty much stayed healthy his whole career.
Yep.
So hats off to him. I don't know if he's gonna get in the Hall of Fame, but he never won a championship. But I mean,
he won a lot of Sixth Man of the Year awards.
But he had a long, extensive career. So I'm not gonna hate on him about that. But what I did want to mention to you is, because I know we're coming up on
time
here, but two things.
Go.
Zion Williamson
not coming back. I mean, we said this. We talked about him. We talked to him about him about 3 or 4 episodes, and I am not sold on Zion Williamson. I used to watch him when he played in high school because his games were somehow on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
They hyped him up. I watched him in the McDonald's dunk contest. He looked like he was gonna be a great prospect. He played for Duke, killer out there, and it seems as if as soon as he left Duke and got on the Pelicans, he's been in nothing but health issues. His foot, broken bone in his foot that cannot heal because he's so heavy. They said he was going to come back. I think I announced it like 2 or 3 weeks ago when they said he was going to come back. And I was like, hey, it looks like he's coming back. Well, guess what? Today they announced they're going to shut him down for the rest of the season because his foot is just not healing properly. They're talking about they're going to have to re-break the bone again and set it.
Didn't they do that with Greg Oden?
He's basically the 2022 Greg Oden.
85 starts in 3 seasons.
Yep. But hey, however, he's been very productive when available, averaging 25 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists.
And he's only been available 85 games in 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's a big smudge on his campaign, isn't it?
I don't know what you think.
I think he's done. I'm not gonna
disagree with you. I think he's a bust.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
He's a bust, and I'm glad the Bulls did not get him because the same issue would have happened if he stayed here. They've been lucky not to get guys like Oden and Williamson.
It's so amazing because from what I hear, he's unhappy being in New Orleans. Like, what?
How could you be unhappy?
Right.
You've been sitting on your ass collecting a check, staying hurt.
Because that's what I hear. He's unhappy with New Orleans because he's saying that their medical team, their health team, is what's failing him.
They're
giving him bad advice.
Excuse. They always have an excuse.
And he's saying that's why he's not even rehabbing in New Orleans, right? He's in LA.
He's sitting around eating cheeseburgers, getting fat. That's what he's doing. Because obviously he's been picking up weight. So what else can he do?
Yeah, this man's like 350 now.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
He's done for, man.
We'll see next season. We'll see what happens next season when he does play, if he's healthy, how big he's going to be. Because, if he wants to prove his critics wrong and prove everybody wrong, he needs to get his big ass out in the gym this summer, work out,
jog,
and come back in tip-top shape and ready to dominate the NBA next season.
Yep.
Well, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, but we'll see what happens about that. But we'll see. With that, I know you always set this last few minutes of the show dedicated to. He can't even dunk, can he?
That is him dunking.
Oh wow!
He just posted a video. We got a video, folks, of Zion Williamson posting a video on Instagram of him dunking the ball.
It's like he struggled for that.
Yeah, he did. It's nothing like
the last couple of minutes, did you have some comments to say about
yes,
Benny?
So, my favorite subject in the NBA, which I can't take my eyes off of it because it's just so unbelievable that this is still happening in front of everybody, and no one wants to call him out on it because we have all of our sympathy warriors out there. Because this man is claiming mental health. Well, now it's not mental health anymore. Now, after being away from the game for an entire year, sitting down, moving around, just hanging out, enjoying life in general. Well, now they trade him, Ben Simmons, to the Nets. Oh, he comes out talking about, it's gonna be so scary. It's gonna be scary when we're out there all together. Well, guess what? No, the only thing that's scared is him, because right now This morning, I believe we read something about this man stating that he has a ruptured disc in his back. Now, history in basketball with anyone that has a herniated disc or anything like that, you're done for. I mean, you're not gonna be able to jump like you were. You're not gonna have that efficiency like you used to. The herniated disc is a real hard injury to come back from. We used to have a gentleman here with us, and he's a physical therapist, a well-known physical therapist, and I had a conversation with him about that, and that's basically what he said. Is like, look, coming back from a herniated disc is real tough. I mean, we got names like Steve Nash, like he mentioned Larry Bird. You got Dwight Howard. Since Dwight Howard injured his back, he's never been the same. He's been coming off a bench and getting traded and passed around worse than a blunt at a college party. So I don't know. He's on the Lakers now, and yet somehow LeBron James has to start at center. But that being said, I don't believe this man is going to be very impactful. I think the Brooklyn Nets made a big mistake getting him, and they're just going to be paying him for nothing because we're not even going to see him play this year. What do you got?
Well, again, I think it's an excuse. I don't think there's anything wrong with his back at all. They just find a way for him not to play. So he just doesn't want to play. So
he's not ready.
And he's not ready because he's not in shape because he hasn't played at all. I mean, this is just...
They're not in shape thing. I understand. All he did was work out all summer.
Did he? Did he work out all summer?
That's the idea.
He probably did nothing all summer except bitch and moan about he wants to be traded as want to play for the Sixers.
Yeah.
And so now Sixers got rid of him, and Brooklyn is stuck with this problem. All of a sudden you have herniated disc. From what?
Yeah.
The hell did you do?
I mean,
you didn't play at all this summer. You didn't play at all this season.
Did you not pass a physical to get on the
trade?
Nets?
Exactly.
How did this happen? I think it's BS. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Well, it's an excuse so he doesn't play. Either he doesn't want to play this season, or the Nets don't want to play him. What's the point of having him?
Why pay him that money?
Why get him at all? I mean, all will be said and told come next season. Come the beginning of next regular season, the 2022-23 season, when they start the season next October, we'll see if players like him and Zion Williamson, if they all play on their teams, without already being injured before the season starts again.
Yeah.
It's got to be lovely to sit there and make an excuse and get paid good money for it too.
Yeah.
They're doing this as a reason. One, they're doing this as an excuse so they could try to win the lawsuit against the Sixers to get his money. And knowing damn well there's nothing wrong with them. You can pay a doctor anything to write something. So his back is hurting. I'm just gonna write down his back is hurting. So if I'm Brooklyn, well, examine his back and make sure it's messed up. I don't think it is, but they're protecting him so much they don't want to get. He has a fragile mind, so they don't want to make it look like he doesn't want to play because he's too scared to get out there in the court and play, which is probably the case. Maybe he's too scared to get out in the court and play. His mind is so fragile, you don't know. So I honestly think that you can get rid of him and give that spot to somebody else.
Wow.
Because
I agree.
I think this guy is nothing but a head case.
I think
he's a diva.
I think he needs to be going to the CBA. You go G League.
He doesn't need to go
prove
anywhere.
yourself. Prove yourself in the G League before you can come back on and step on the NBA court again. I'm sorry. Shoot a free throw.
I don't know. Maybe he needs to be at a reality show with one of the Kardashian sisters or something like that. I don't know.
Real quick before we go. So here's this thing that's been happening in NBA because we still got another minute or two before I hit my hour mark that I normally break. NBA fans interacting with players. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about today, and then that's it. So we've been seeing a lot of increased activity with NBA fans saying stuff to players and the players confronting them, like Russell Westbrook. He got mad at some kids who were saying Westbrook to him. This man actually left the court and walked up to these two kids. Well, they're not kids because one of them was holding a drink in his hand, alcoholic beverage. But still, it's a kid. Walks up and says, "What you call me? What you call me? Say my name." And those kids got, intimidated by him and said Westbrook. And they're like, "No, we're your biggest fan." And he's like, "Yeah, I thought so." And he walked away. These kind of interactions, I think at some point it's going to get worse and worse. So yesterday you had Yusuf Nurkic.
He threw a fan's phone.
Yeah, he walked up across the court in his little suit, and basically walked up to the fan, these two kids, and basically snatched the phone out of his hand and just tossed it. He got fined $40,000 for that. I mean, that's an incident that the fan can actually sue the NBA for, because I mean, if you think about it, like Conor McGregor, when he took that fan's phone and stomped it out for taking his picture, he had to come up out of his pockets $15,000 to give to the fan for that phone. So the problem was with this. They were talking about his mom and they were talking about his grandma.
Yeah.
Like, his grandma died from COVID-19. Rest in peace. So to me, that is out of line. And there are certain things that, if I go to a game, I think you suck. You suck. You're going to miss this free throw. That's my normal heckling,
These fans, some of these fans
sit on the bench.
They get out of hand.
But some of these personal insults, that's just not right. And we're getting to that point now that it needs to stop. So my idea was,
the player cannot take matters into his own hands, because if the player interacts with the fan like that, like this guy tosses the fan's phone, you should be suspended for a couple of games. You cannot do that.
Even though they talk about your grandmother that
That
passed
fan will
away.
be thrown out and will never come back to a game again. Okay.
Knowing you would let that ride?
But they do that. The arena.
Would you personally let that ride if that was your family member and they were talking ill about them and they passed away?
Obviously, I'd be upset. Of course, it's not nothing nice to say, but as a player, you are taught, and they are trained, and they are taught to be able to deal with the media, be able to deal with rudy fans. They're told to tone it all out. And they're told this. They're taught this. They are trained for this. They train them for this stuff. That's what they get paid all that money for. They are trained to ignore the fans, ignore the outside noise, say scripted responses to questions, particularly controversial questions, and not let it get to you. Now, sometimes some players do slip. Now, what this idiot fan said is uncalled for. And so, again, he should have took the guy's phone. You don't take the phone and throw it, that's being physical. He can get sued for that.
Mm-hmm.
But what the arena needs to do and what the NBA needs to do is, like, for example, this guy and his friends in this party are never allowed to come back into an NBA game. They're banned from all NBA arenas, for all NBA games. They are
for
banned.
A year.
Not even for, you could probably for several years.
Wow.
You're not coming back for at least 2 or 3 years.
Here's my idea that I had this morning when I saw this. Do you think it would be feasible to put like a hockey rink type outside, so that way we don't have to worry about interactions with the players and these fans talking this dumb
What they can do
is
you don't have to put no hockey, nothing like that. How they have the seats are like right on the court? No longer have seats on the court like that. Push it back a couple of rows. That way you can't have no fan interaction. I was never a fan of all those cameramen, everything all along the sidelines. Yeah. When a player runs into that.
Head into the
yeah, so that's just too close. Instead, they need to make it a couple of rows back. That way, unfortunately, the fans, you cannot be that close to the game.
I think they should just put
But that's the whole thing about the NBA. They drive on that. They don't want to do that.
Plexiglass, put that up. Because this is getting out of hand to me. Yeah, it's gonna get worse. You got LeBron, you had Carmelo, you got Nurkic. You've had a lot of confrontations with fans, a lot more in Denver. You had it in Boston, New York. Randall himself had issues with fans. Something's got to be done. But anyway, I think we've reached the end of the show for now. Where we're also going to be following anything else that's going to be coming up, any new news, any new trades. There's always something happening, and we always have our opinions on it, whether we're on or off camera. So again, thank you again for watching. Catch us on. You can listen to us on our podcast, Google. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I've got some other things in the works myself that we're going to expand a little bit more. So be on the lookout for that. And watch us some more. Watch us again. We're going to be on, probably this weekend, we're going to do another show. Because I think being away for a week, I had my own little personal issues. I got a boot on my leg trying to play basketball, and Frank broke my ankle.
No.
So
don't blame me on that.
So I couldn't do anything over the weekend, but still want to talk. Still love our show. Still love you guys, and that's it for us today. All
That's
right?
it, and we'll see you on episode 18 coming up this weekend. And any new news that happens, obviously we're going to talk about that. Bulls, Bears, NFL, NBA, and anything else in between that's worthy of talking about, we'll talk about it.
Yep. Any questions for us, let us know. Please leave them. I'm always on the lookout for it. All right?
All right. Peace.
Peace.